Hi, this is Jared Duncan with BMG Rentals from the Idaho Falls office. With any investment property that you have, the goal is to make money. Putting a bad tenant into a property will eventually cost you money, not just with your turnover, but your downtime, and potentially if you have to do an eviction. Screening is the most important thing that a property management company can do and can step in and help you with. With this at BMG, we do a lot of screening. We pull from a credit report. We don't just look at a credit score. We'll actually pull your full credit report and look at all of the obligations that a tenant has. This is interesting because while we're looking, I don't really care if a tenant has one obligation or has 50 obligations. What I care is, are they meeting those obligations? And that's a big deal. If the tenant has those obligations and is not meeting them, that gives us an indication of how they're going to treat their rent and your property. The other thing that we look at is we look at collections. If those tenants have anything on their credit report in collections in relation to a property, then we will not rent to them until those things are cleared up. The only exception to that would be medical. Life happens, and we do understand that. So with your tenants and the screening that you're doing, another thing that you will want to look at is you want to look at the longevity of how long they've been at the last property that they're living at. Anything less than a year will kind of bring up those red flags. So just be aware of the rental history and don't be afraid to call the previous landlord. A lot of times we like to go back to landlords because their current landlord may just want to get rid of that person, and that's not a situation you want to walk into blindly. So by going back to a second landlord, you can actually get the real story of how that tenant will treat your property going forward. So another thing to look at with your tenants would be their current employment situations. You want to make sure that your tenants are able to pay their rent and take care of your property at the same time. So when you're looking at that, a good rule of thumb is that the tenant needs to be able to make 2.5 times the rent amount in income. Now that income can come in various ways. Sometimes it is with housing. Sometimes it's through just a job and employment. So make sure to look at all sources of income when you're evaluating those situations with your tenants and being able to afford to live in your rental unit. Another thing that's always important is looking at longevity in their jobs. When you look at a tenant and they've only been in their current job for a couple of months, there is a sense of insecurity in relation to that. One of my favorite tenants had just graduated from college. He had gone and gotten his teaching degree. With that teaching degree, he had just gotten out of college and received a job at a local grade school. This is an excellent situation where you know that that tenant has put a lot of hard work into their schooling and into their job, and so we were able to tie their schooling in as longevity in their career. This is a great way to just get a good real look at your tenants. Those are just some of the key points that you may want to evaluate as you're looking for a property management company, making sure that they're looking at the whole big picture, not just the small aspects of it. And being able to see the entire picture with your tenants will, in the long run, save you time, money, and a lot of headaches.